Agud Voch Boisai. Nishmas Mordechai. Shkoyach to Alan and Shprintzy Gross for the pizza tonight. Shkoyach, Zchut, Chizuk HaTorah. And here we go from the scoop, Muncie scoop. They were waiting for something, I don't remember what. They were on some sort of call, the fire department. The guy's steiging away. Unbelievable. One of the 19 firefighters. Anyways, we have a lot of guests tonight. I don't know who's a guest, who's not. If you're a guest, raise your hand. You guys are guests. What's your names? Zalchi? Alchi. Weiss from? Ooh, wow. 2 in 1 week from Williamsburg. Gewaldig. And you? Deitch? From where? Muncie. So there was 2 guys that came. I believe one was from Williamsburg and the other one was from Muncie also. When did they come? On Wednesday? Kitzer. And behind, what's your name? Behind?
Rosenberg. Josh.
You're the famous Josh.
I graced you in box a couple times.
Yeah. Vada. Shkoyach. Where are you from though? Birevach. Who's next to you? He's a shtickle hiding with the sun. No, that way. What's your name? You already here before?
No.
אתה באת לעברית.
לא, גם לאנגלית, לא מבינה אותה, אבל מעניין לראות את השיעור שמעתי.
לא, זה יותר מעניין בעברית. אם תישאר, יש את השיעור בעברית. ב-10. Now, 1 minute, we have a special guest.
Yeah.
This guy, what's your name? Straight ahead.
Areye.
Where are you from? Ramat Shiloh. You told me, didn't you tell me, maybe I'm confusing with somebody else. Again, well, what's your story? You live in Ramat Shiloh? Yeah, okay. How many times were you here already? 5, 6, 7. Okay. What's your name? Baltimore. I know your name. Shalom Aleichem. Menashe, I'm from Baltimore. Gewalt. Who else? Your shtickle guest? What's your name?
Areye.
From? Miami. Have you ever been? You've never been to my shiur in Miami? First time ever. All right. Listen, you came on some rough dafim here. Okay. It's called. Okay. Rabbi say, what do we have here? We're gonna get going. We have a shiur. The Hebrew speakers are coming in less than an hour, so we gotta get moving here. Michael Zagi, High Rebellion, MDY Brothers. Hope all is good. Sponsorship page has no sponsor for highlighted Gemara to follow. So during the shiur, he wants to sponsor that, which is probably the biggest tool ever. How much to sponsor? I don't know. Listen, Michael, you come up with something, whatever you do, that will be the sponsorship forever. If you do $20, it's going to be $20 forever. Do $1,000, $1,000 forever. So you decide. A guy got a ticket here a couple nights ago. You know, he's here. He's our in-house, well, wait a minute, what's his name? Halpern also, but he's our locksmith, in-house locksmith, Zach, and he got a ticket. And before he left, it was a 500 shekel ticket. The Olam came and gave him the money for it. They said, they want to pitch in. Mika Amcha Yisrael. Rabbi say we're just going to go straight to the sponsorships. The Masechta sponsor, Nishmas Mordechai Ben YBLCT Refoel Chaim Dov, grandson of Rabbi Areye, Checkanow. Yeah, wow. So somebody put this in, or it's instead of something else? Yeah, Rabbi Areye Checkanow's grandson. I told you the story, a terrible story. His little grandson was nifter. The Masechta for Hatzlacha Baruch ובגשמיות. The Masechta, Larry Cohn, in memory of Yechiel Moshe Ben Chaim, who started learning Daf Yomi at age 70 and continued for 32 years until he was nifted. The Masechta for the unity of the Jewish people. Masechta, Glen Esses and love and gratitude from Wilmington, North Carolina. Thank you for enriching my life with Torah. Parnasa Chodesh. Nishmas Zchut Ben Moshe, Nishmas Zchut Yosef. Zchut, Parnasa Birevach for Baruch, Tzvi Ben Shoshana with a Karas HaToiv from Anonymous. Shprintzy Alan Gross. Nishmas, the Yorsais are our fathers. Binyamin Isaac. I don't know how to do this. This is already on different lines. Shlomo Ben Yitzchak Isaac Zchut Baruch and Binyamin Isaac Ben Tzvi Hirsch HaKohen Zchut Baruch and Refoel Shlomo 2 Yonis and Eitan Ben Batsheva Bracha. Leon Welcher, which thanking Hashem for releasing Aaron ben Hilla, Esther Gittel, Ari Rosenfeld, who was in prison for a very long time and is part of MDY. While he was in prison, I think he did 5 Masechtas in prison. The Coil of the Month, sponsored by HYK Ventures, which is Hill Kamiansky, for the success of all our clients. And the pizza of the day, Shprintzy Alan Gross, in memory of the yard of our aunt, Judith Ziegler, Aleh Shalom, Judith Bas, Shalom Meir. Parnasa Yoim, Nishmas Zeben, Reb Shmuel, Eli Melech, Alav Shalom, and Parnasa Yoim, Refoel Shleima, Leo Ben Nachum Baruch. Art of the month for Zchut, for Rebellion, the whole of the way, staff to continue to make Torah, and enjoy. So many in Art of the month, in honor of Yossi Klan, from Muncie, and Mark Ashkenazi from Muncie, and Phoenix, for all the work that they do. Rabbi said we're holding by a Mishnah, but let me ask you some questions over here before we get into it. What's a bigger Aveira? What do you get a bigger Oynish for? What's a worse Aveira? To curse your father or to beat up your father? Huh? You say curse. Anybody say beat up? You say curse. If you know the answer to this, then you win. Why? So you learned the Masechta already. That's such a memory. Gewaldig. Okay. This is a question. You can't answer this one. You can't answer this one. You get 1,000 points. But you get minus 1,000 points because you cheated. You already learned it once. I'm asking people that didn't learn it. Unfortunately, this happens here in Eretz Yisrael. It's not a one-time thing. It happens. Let's say a woman who's the daughter of a Cohn marries an Arab. And then she was Mizana. What oynish does she get? What oynish misa does she get for being Mizana?
Nothing, she's not there.
All right, here's another one. What does Ba'agola mean? Okay. Now, last one. What if a person has a daughter-in-law and he's mizana with his daughter-in-law while his son is still alive? Is he over on 2 isurim of a kala and a ishasish, or only on a kala? Huh? Ritayna? You say both. It's only one of the two. You have 50% chance. All right, so let's see the Mishnah. Mitzvahs anechnakin. How do you hang somebody or choke somebody to death? I showed this already, but why not? We don't have a whole lot going on today. This is a bathtub full of manure. And you take the guy, you put him in there, and then I showed you already with the belt, the thick belt, and the scarf over that. So you have a combination of hard and soft, because you need, in order to kill him, you need something harder, but the hard will damage the skin. We don't want that, so we do it soft and hard. 1/8 grabs one end, the other 8 grabs the other one, and they pull hard. Somebody that's not part of the shir came in from Ma'ariv, came over to me after Ma'ariv. Everybody has their aras. He said, it looked like you were enjoying it way too much. You showed it like you were excited to kill him. Okay, I have no problem. Listen, it's a mitzvah. I enjoy mitzvahs. All right. He takes the harder garment and puts it under the softer one until he goes pfeifen. Ish prat lekotan. Here's a question, another question. When can a 9-year-old's kiddushin be typhus? 10-year-old. You can't answer anymore. You're done for today. It's one question, one answer. You can't open your mouth anymore. All right, you sit on the side. All right, Yibum. Anybody else want to guess or say something? What else? When else could a 9-year-old kiddushin be chal? That's their abanon. So that I'm saying they're raisa. But very close, very, very close. No, now that he gave it away. Oh, how could the father be Mekadosh? Well, first of all, what you said is the father marries off the brother and mother marry off a girl. I'm talking about a boy, a 9-year-old boy. Oh. You hear what he said? Mion. Mion is when by a amma, you have a amma, the father could give the son, could miyai the amma to him. Okay, so let's see. Zok the Gemara. Mion, what? Yud. He said mion. Okay. Yeah. He just threw me off. I said yud, but okay. Says the Gemara. Torah bon ish prat lekatan asher yinaf es eshes ish prat leishes katan. So here's the pasuk. First of all, we have to understand like this. A child under the age of bar mitzvah can't get married. Only in those two cases of yibum and yud. But typically speaking, can't get married. So when a katan goes ahead and is mizana, you can't be mechayiv him. He's not chayiv b'mitzvahs. He's not chayiv ba'inshim. So it's nothing. But let's say a woman who's married, she's a eshes ish, and she's mizana with a katan, with a 10-year-old. Is she chayiv for eshes ish? Yes. Because biyase biya and finished. So it's the eshes ish. So says the Gemara, ish prat lekatan. He's not chayiv. Asher yinaf es eshes ish prat leishes katan. So if a woman who's married to a katan, that's not considered a marriage. So since it's not considered a marriage, and she goes ahead and she's mizana, it's nothing. She's not considered eshes ish. Right? Not to be confused. But if she's already eshes ish and she's with a katan, she is chayiv. If her chasen, her husband is a katan, then it's not eshes ish. And if she goes with somebody else, she's not mizana. It's not considered znus. Probably eshes katan, or it's not considered eshes ish, I should say, to be more meduyik. Prat eshes katan, eshes reyeyu, prat eshes acherim. It says in the same pasuk, eshes reyeyu. It means that if she's married to a guy, like you all said over here, you seem to know this, that married to an Arab is not considered marriage, garnished. So, typically speaking, we had this klal in general that if a person is chayiv misa, and we don't know what it is, you give him chenek. Why? Maybe it's the other three. In fact, chenek is not Amur B'Torah. The other three are Amur B'Torah. Skila, Sreif, and Sayif. But chenek is not mentioned there at all. So maybe you should give something that's mentioned in the Torah. You can't give a person, if you have a choice to give a person 2 misas, you give him which one? You give him the lighter one. So over here also, so if we take a look at this chart on the left side we go with Tanakama, not Reb Shimon, and chenek is all the way on the bottom of the chart. So if we don't know what misa to give that person, so you give him chenek. That's Rabbi Yoshia. No. In fact, the Gemara explains what does this mean, because I, Rabbi Yoshia, hold like Rabbi Shimon. So chenek is not on the bottom of the chart. Herek is on the bottom of the chart. Memela, if I have to give somebody a misa, why should I give him chenek? Maybe I should give him herek. I should go the lowest. So what's the svara? You should know there's a general rule, nothing to do with kal and not kal. Happens to be chenek is not the kal one. No, but when the Torah says misa without explaining, we automatically go to chenek, says Rabbi Yonasan. Rabbi Yomer, and I'll explain to you, says Rabbi, Nemar misa b'dei shomayim v'nemar misa b'dei adam. The Torah talks about there's misa b'dei adam, b'dei shomayim also. Ma misa amur b'dei shomayim misa shem b'roishem. You don't, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu kills somebody, takes his neshama, there's no wounds, nothing, you don't see that something happened, the person is whole. So therefore I give the person chenek. Nothing happened to his body. What else is a misa that nothing happens to the body? Sreifa. It goes inside. That's the Gemara right away. Famous Sreifa. But when it comes to others' nus of a baskaya in the Torah specifies, it says no, she's besreifa, miklad ala basreifi. Memela, the other Eishesish, the other Mizana, she's not besreifa, must be, she's bechenek. Here's another one that a lot of people know, but it's kedai to talk about. Midoraisa. This is going to shock a lot of people. Midoraisa, are you allowed to marry your own grandmother from your mother's side? Huh? Midoraisa, are you allowed? Yes. What are you, crazy? Are you allowed to marry your own grandmother from your mother's side? Who said yes? Huh? And what about from your father's side? The kids are Midoraisa, you're allowed to marry a grandmother from both sides. Why, you interested? You're allowed to marry your grandmother. Just Baruch Hashem, the Chacham came along and said it's Aser. It's Aser. I told my wife today, she almost fell off. Like, stop, whatever. Okay. She has a grandson, so like, she's already thinking, like, whatever. It grows her out. Anyways, Midoraisa Yaladu. So says the Gemara, Bishloim Rebbe Yonis on the Common Farish, Rebbe Taima. Rebbe explained now that I learned from a Misa B'dei Shomayim, I learned to Misa B'dei Adam. El Rebbe Yoshia, and my dik chenek ba'olam. Who told Rebbe Yoshia that the list means there's 4 things on the list? Maybe there's only 3 things on the list. All 3 of them are in the Torah. It says cherev, it says beishti sarev, it talks about skila, but it doesn't talk about chenek. Says the Gemara, Emasayif. Maybe you go down to the Saif. Omar Rava Arba Mises Gemara Gemirlo. Says Rava, and this you can't ask any questions. It's halacha l'Moshe Sinai. Baruch told Moshe Rabbeinu on Sinai that there's 4 misas. In fact, Rashi on Nun Beis Amud Beis says over there, Kisidron Gemara Gomer. He sticks in the word Kisidron. Shalom Aleichem, Eitan G.
My man, how you doing?
Baruch Hashem. Where do you think you're coming? Where do you think you're going? What are you doing?
It's an empty seat.
This is reserved.
For who?
Eliyahu Navi.
Over there?
You just kicked him out? You still going? You going strong?
I'm doing it.
One day, the helicopter ride. One day.
Yeah.
We'll put somebody,
We'll find something really crazy to do. It'll be magic.
Okay. So anyways, today's sugi is perfect for you. Trust me, you're going to love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, you're going to love it.
Which one? With the guy?
No, we're good. Are you allowed to marry a grandmother?
Yeah, we said that in Yavamas.
Woo! All right. I said no talking out here. Omar Rava. Arba Misa is Gemara Gemirlo. So Rashi says not only did Akash Baruch Hu tell Moshe Rabbeinu in Har Sinai that there's 4, he told them in what order? Okay. My loy b'nei shikala. So what did the Gemara mean before? Oh, not because it's not the easiest, but for a different reason. I explained it over there. That he holds like Reb Shimon that chenek is not the easiest one, and memela, since it's not the easiest one, what you should go to immediately if somebody's chayiv mis in the Torah, you should right away go to saif because it's the easiest one. No, the reason why I go to chenek is because I have this reason, that reason, but I have a reason. There are many misas in the Torah that say skila. Here's a list. Avodah Zarah, Naira Marasa, all they say skila. Chil Shabbos, skila, Oivi Yadoini, and that's the one we're going to talk about now. Oivi Yadoini, like bringing up neshama's magic stuff, Yechayiv skila. And the rest of the isurim in the Torah that you get skila, you learn from Oivi Yadayni. Megadef, cursing HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moilach, without a yud, means to, I actually have a picture of Moilach here. It's not such a great picture, but it's my least favorite Aveira in the world. If somebody has a least favorite one, let me know. It's barbecuing your own son for Avodah Zarah. It's a terrible, terrible Aveira. I just told Zevi today, in Park City, they have these, outside, they had these fire pits, very expensive fire pits. You made out of limestone. In the middle, there's the fire. And there's a Frum family there cooking marshmallows on the fire. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's like, it's not meant for that. It's meant to heat up. If you drip some marshmallow, it's like, it could cause a chilul Hashem. Whatever, fine, different stuff. I hope they don't watch this year. Erase. Next. I guess it's better than barbecuing your kid or whatever. Okay. Zog the Gemara. Which words? There's two options. In the pasuk of Oivi Yadayni, see, it says Oivi Yadayni, and it says Moisu Masu, and it says Demei and Bam. So from which two words do we learn it? Nafkimina, because if you learn it from different words, from the wrong two, then you can have different questions. Which two words? B'mai gamri, b'moisu masu gamri, b'dmeim bam gamri. Omar le b'dmeim dmeim bam gamri. We learn from dmeim bam. Why? Di b'moisu masu gamri, dmeim bam, dmeim lamali. It has to be you learn from moisu masu. Otherwise, what do you do with dmeim bam? And if you learn from dmeim bam, what are you going to do with moisu masu? So that's the Gemara's question. Elamai b'dmeim dmeim gamri, moisu masu lamali. Kisai, no, that's not a question because that I have something to do. Kisai moisu mas hamakar etzechu. We had this sugya, but it's a very interesting halacha that if somebody's chayiv misa in Bezdin, let's say he's a murderer, and as they paskin that he's chayiv misa, he escapes. He runs away. We have a video. Why do I have to give it away? Here it is.
They'll never catch me.
We're looking for a voiceover guy.
But Zchariah Zviatevsky? What do you think? Looks like me? Great, it's you. You have a delivery from MDY. Oh, the socks from MDY finally arrived. What? But this is not one of the court deaths. There's skila straight for herrig and chenek, but it doesn't say in the Mishnah a ticking time bomb. Oh no! A kiss from Hashem. Just today we learned in the Daf Yomi that if there is no other choice, you can kill him in any way. I think you could say that we sucked him.
All right, Givaldi. We sacked him. Okay. Zog the Gemara. K'desanya. Mois yumas hamakar ritzechu ein le'ela b'misak suvaboy. Maybe you have to give the ritzeach, the mis in the Torah, menayin shim iato yochel ha'misa b'misak suvaboy. Shata b'misa b'chol misa shata yochel ha'misa. Maybe if he ran away, you could take out a gun and shoot him. Tama lo'imar mois yumas hamakar mikol mokim. So it seems like from Tosfos and other Rishonim that this is referring to ritzech. It's not necessarily all other misas. Some say that the pshat is in other things. Let's say a guy is chayev. Let's say he's Michal Shabbos and he gets skila and he runs away, or you don't have stones, you don't have where to, so you could choke him. But a ritzeach, you can kill with anything you want. In other words, other misas, if you can't do one, you can do one of the other three. But a ritzeach, you can do anything you want. You can kill him any way you want. Okay, there's all public service for a lot of things. Okay, and let's say you learn from Moisu Masu. What was your big question? Why is this bechenek? It says Moisu. So learn from YBLCT. Malalom beskila. YBLCT is the skila. Afkan. Also beskila. Maybe that's your question. If you're going to learn again, if you learn from Demei and Bam, you don't have the question why, because it doesn't say Demei and Bam. But it says Moisu. So if I'm going to learn Mois Yumas from Oiv Yadoni to everything in the Torah that says Mois Yumas, it should be Skila. So I have a problem from Eshesish that it also says Mois Yumas, and she doesn't get Skila, she gets Chenek. Well, that's not a question. You're right, she should be Beskila, but the Torah says specifically that only an engaged woman gets Skila, so I understand from that a regular married woman doesn't get Skila. How come somebody that hits his father gets Chenek? Somebody that curses his father gets what? Skila. Why? Because it's more Chamor. Why is it more Chamor? Because there's two things going on. First of all, you're cursing your father, and second of all, you're using the Shem Hashem to curse. It's not just a curse, you say a bad word, a swear word like they say in English. It's using Hashem's name in the curse, and that's why you're Mechal Shem Shemayim also. But anyway, how come you don't learn from Oiv Yadoni that you should get Skila? But now I have a problem. You have somebody that hits his father. I can learn from Oiv Yadoni that he gets Skila. I can learn from Eshesish that also says Mois Yumas should get Chenek. If I have two options, by Eshesish it says Mois Yumas. By Oiv Yadoni it says Mois Yumas. You have this thing in the middle hitting a father over the head with a bat. What should he get? Skila or Chenek? Go with the lighter one. Go with Chenek. Okay, so finally Gemara says no. The problem is if I learn from Mois Yumas, I'll have a question for all the other ones that get Skila. Okay, so I have a question on all other Mises in the Torah. Why would I learn from Oiv Yadoni that you get Skila, learn from Eshesish that has the same exact two words, Mois Yumas, that will teach me that you get Chenek? The answer is, because I'm not learning from Mois Yumas, I'm learning from Demeim Bam, and the only place that says Demeim Bam is by Oiv Yadoni and not by Eshesish. So therefore I'm going to learn from all the other stuff in the Torah that we don't know what the Misa is, all the Neskalim in the we learn from, if it says the Demeim Bam, I learn from Oiv Yadoni. Says the Mishnah. Elohim and Neskalim. These are people that get Skila. Haba Areye, he has relations with his mother, So'av, and with his father's wife. Which that is going to throw us in the whole almost two daf sugya. As we're going to see in a second, Eishes Ha'av, your father's wife, which is basically also your own mother. So how many Yisurim are you over? Vala Kala, and on your daughter-in-law. Vala Zchur, Vala Be'ema, relations with the animal. Va'isha Mevios Be'ema, and a woman who has relations with the animal. V'Magadev, curses Hashem. V'Oived Avodah Zara, V'Anoisim Mizaroi, Lamoilech. So this is an interesting chiddush. It's a riddle also, but I had enough riddles today. What aver in the Torah are you over and you get skila, but are you over a second time, or it depends, in a certain second time you don't get anything, you don't get skila. The answer is moilach. Moilach, if a person only has two kids, and he puts one kid in the fire, and then he puts his last kid in the fire, he doesn't get skila, because it says, from his children, but not all his children. He puts all his children in the fire. This is a machlokes if it's even fire. Some say it's not fire, but okay. That the kid doesn't die. That's the one that we said, that we learn the whole Torah to it. He talks with bones and the shamas. A person's mechal Shabbos gets skila. And he curses his own father or mother. And over here we said, Rashi says, he uses Shem Hashem. So we said this is like the epitome of the worst Aveira, because she's young and she's never with her husband, but she's a Eshesish. V'hamesis, and a person who convinces an individual to do Avodah Zarah. V'hamediach, a person who convinces an entire city or a Rov city to do Avodah Zarah. V'hamachashiv, he does kishuv. Uben Tzoyer Meir is different. Machashiv is different than Oiv Yadoni. Uben Tzoyer Meir, the young kid who's already stealing and fressing, and we have to kill him as Shema Asid. It's interesting because we give him a very, even though he didn't do anything wrong at this point, he stole, but you don't get misa for that. we don't just give him misa, we give him a very, very severe misa, the worst misa. Skila, interesting. Areye says the Mishnah that if a person has relations with his own mother, chayav aleh mishum aim u'mishum eshesav. So we're referring to over here to a person who does it b'shogeg, he doesn't realize it's his mother. So he's chayav to bring two korbanos. One for being with his own mother, and one for being with his father's wife. Obviously, if he knew what he was doing, you can't punish him twice because he gets misa. You can only kill somebody once. The Gemara says.
And if she divorced, you still get two?
Eshesav is forever. It never goes off. Another riddle. Which erva goes off? One erva goes off. Actually, besides Eshesish. Which erva goes off? Anybody? Besides the person that's not supposed to answer? Huh? Sisters. So that answers the question. Remember, the only erva that ever goes off is a sister. Your wife's sister. Achoy Sisha. Not your sister. That can never go off. Your sister-in-law. So you ask, what about Eshesav? Eshesav never goes off. You could divorce, it never goes off. No erva ever goes off. Only if we're not going into the details, but yeah. Achoy Sishta, your sister-in-law, only if the wife dies. Rabbi Yehuda, Imereinu Chayiv El Mishumayim Belvad. This is our big sugya, this Rabbi Yehuda. It's not a hard sugya, it's just psukim and limudim. Rabbi Yehuda says that a person is only chayav one, and there's a debate in the Gemara, did he say it in a certain case, or in all cases, they only chayav one. Haba al ishes av, if somebody has relations with his father's wife, who's not his mother, his father remarried, somebody else who has two wives, chayav mishum eshes av mishum eshes ish. He's chayav for two averis. One for his father's wife, and one for eshes ish, if she's still married to him. I didn't say over here when we said behema, I could say it later, but behema, the Stipler says a very interesting thing. I thought it's interesting that it says about Bilam, Haskin Iskanti, that the Gemara learns that Bilam was with his donkey. So the Stipler says that that is the reason why Bilam was Zchut to such tremendous madregas in Tumah, in Kisho, in his Nevuah, because it came from Koiches HaTumah, and he reached the lowest madrigas of Koiches HaTumah. In other words, the greater the person does Averis, the more Tumah he has, so the more madrigas in Tumah he gets. Interesting thing. And Lahavdil, if somebody does tremendous mitzvahs, so he's Zchut the bigger madrigas in Koiches HaKdusha. Rabbi Shomer, what kind of Gemara is that? I can't wait until after Shaf. What is that? How old is it? Garnished. No. I bet he doesn't have Nakudas. It's hard to read from. Okay. Says the Gemara. And another important thing is that we're talking about somebody that has relations with his mother. So the Rambam says that the reason why somebody that has relations with his own mother, he gets such a severe oynish, is because he's not doing it for taiva, he's doing it to upset the Rebbeinu Shalom. He says a lot of the Arayes have the same reason. There's no taiva in it. So why are you doing it? You're doing it to upset the Rebbeinu Shalom. Oh, you're doing it to upset the Rebbeinu Shalom? You get a very, very severe misa. It's the Rambam. Says the Gemara, Mishnah, Bain. So if someone has relations with his father's wife, now obviously you're not going to be over an Eshes if his father is not alive, but the Isser of Eshes Av remains forever even after his father dies. Esterson, even if she was only engaged to the father, is still considered Eshes Av. Obviously if they're married, there's Eshes Av. Habal Kalasoi, and a person has relations with his own daughter-in-law, chayav aleh mishum kalasoi u'mishum eshes ish. He's chayav on two averis. He has to bring two korbanos if it's b'shoigeg. Bein b'chayav b'noi bein lacham misas b'noi. Even after his son dies, It's still considered his daughter-in-law. He's still chayiv on the daughter-in-law. Bein Eres and Bein Asun, even his son only got engaged to this woman. Doiraisa engagement. Great. Tanya. Rabbi Yehuda Omer. So this brisa is different than what we have in our Mishnah. The brisa says, remember, Rabbi Yehuda said that if a person has relations with his own mother, the Tanakama says, what? Should I stop? He's talking to himself again. Okay, say it.
That's a shot.
The Tanakama says that a person is chayiv on his mother two isurim, Eshes Av and his mother, and Rabbi Yehuda says only one. Says the Brisa, Rabbi Yehuda is talking about because the father shouldn't have married this woman. But if the father could marry this woman, then you chayiv two. We're going to go away from that. But at this point, the Gemara is saying that she's not your father's wife. Why? Because the father wasn't allowed to marry her. Let's say a Cohn with a grusha, whatever it is, he shouldn't have married. The Gemara is going to go into it. I'm just throwing out an example on top of my head, which might not be right. But if the father can't marry her, so she's not an Eshes Av, she's whatever Av, she happens to be his mother, you can't deny the fact that it's his mother, so he's over on a mother, but not over on your father's wife, because she's not your father's wife. She's not allowed to be married to him. Now the Gemara goes into it. What kind of woman is this that she's not allowed to marry the father? Talking about somebody, let's say he married his own sister. Chayev Mrs. Bezdin. Miklal the Rabbanon or Krisus. Miklal the Rabbanon Savri. Avagav the Enruiloi. What? So he's arguing Rabbanon, and Rabbanon say, no, even in such a case, you're chayiv on two averis of Eshes Av. It's your father's wife. How could that be? Everybody's going to agree that there's no kiddushin here, and she's not a wife. Hello, chayiv lavim. So you must say that we're talking about somebody, let's say, a divorcee to Cohen, or an almana to Cohen Gadol. So the father shouldn't have married this person, and the father did. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, she's not your father's wife, but she is your mother. So you chayiv one, not two. Rabbi Akiva, the Omar, ain't kiddushin toizim chayiv lavim. This we had the other day. That according to Rabbi Akiva, there is no kiddushin b'chlal. It's not like, oh, it grabs. The kiddushin is good. You're doing an avera. No, it doesn't even grab. The problem is, says the Gemara, Moshe V'Rishayo. So before, let's do a tiny akdama. Let's say, Zevi, you're not going to like this. Sorry. You have two brothers, Reuben and Shimon, not related to Zevi. Reuben is married to the five-towner, and Reuben has a daughter. Now, in the time of the Gemara, the greatest shidduch ever and the best shidduch ever was to marry your uncle, niece. The uncle should marry a niece. So goes ahead, this guy, Shimon, and marries his niece. We know this whole thing is false because if you think it looks like Noam, the top guy, he doesn't have any daughters. So the whole thing is not emes. I'm just trying to calm Zevi down now. Close your eyes now. Now he marries his niece, who happens to be Reuven's daughter. Then he goes bye-bye. He goes to America a little bit for a month. So now Reuven has a problem. Reuven has to be miyabim. Wait a minute, this is his own daughter. So that halacha is, in this case, it's zero. Zero. There's no connection between Reuven and his own daughter. It's impossible to marry your own daughter. So he doesn't even have to perform a chalitza. Nothing. Zero. She can go marry anybody she wants now. There's no yid, no chalitza. But what if that's normal? That's a regular case. But what if? Let's see how this works. I didn't see this yet. Oh man, I don't know what this is. I didn't check this out. Oh, the guy is married to two women, and he has two sons. Oh, and this Safta marries one of the brothers. Now she's allowed to marry the brother, right? Because check this out. It's a paternal grandmother. It's not a. It's no. We're talking about the Rabbanan now. With the Rabbanan, I marry grandmother. This guy's allowed to marry her because it's not his grandmother. It's his brother's grandmother. They happen to be brothers from a father. The be a chiyuv yibum, but the one on the left, it's not his grandmother. I had to put it back there. It's his brother's mother's mother, not his mother's mother. And Mamela, he marries his brother Safta. The problem is, what happens when this guy goes bye-bye? He's also on a plane now, bye-bye. So now, this guy has to do chalitza, but with his own grandmother. So do we say in this case, no, it's a grandmother, no chalitza, go home? Because it's only the Rabbanon. Midiraisa, he's allowed to marry his grandmother. So Mameli, he must do a chalitza. That's called a shniya. His grandmother is a shniya. It's not really aser to him. Midirabanan, she's aser. So we call it a second. Not midiraisa, only the Rabbanon. So let's see inside. Mazar Rishaya, Isra Mitzvah, Isra Kedusha, Choltzes V'lem Yisiyabmos. When the woman who falls to you is either a mitzvah or a gedusha, which the Gemara is going to explain on Amud Beis, then you have to perform chalitza. In this case, Mr. Shimon should not marry his grandmother. It's also for him midrabanan. So perform a chalitza. Daf Yomi Amud Beis. What does this or mitzvah mean? Shniyos medivri soifrim, like a grandmother that only Chacham said you shouldn't marry her. V'amai korlo is a mitzvah. Why do we call it mitzvah? Shemitzvah l'shmai divri chachamim. It's a mitzvah to listen to chachamim, even if they tell you on the right that it's left and on the left it's right. What if you know they're 100% wrong? It's also, you have to listen to the chachamim. Is a gedusha. What does this gedusha mean? Amar al kain gadol grusha v'chalutz al kain edit. Let's say the kain's brother married a grusha. He shouldn't have, and he dies. So now the kohen, a regular kohen, cannot marry grusha, and his brother didn't listen, and he married a grusha. So he has to perform chalitza. You see the question here? The question is obvious now. Who says this? Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda is saying that if a grusha fell to you, how did a grusha fall to you? How did you get into the position that you have a yavam that's a grusha? Because your brother married one, but the kedushin is not good. It's not a good kedushin. Obviously, it is a good kedushin. Hold on, we're going to see in a second. It's Rabbi Yehuda. How do we know? Really, it comes up in a second. But you hear the question is too deep. Nachamal, let's do it again. If we just grab this case, we have a brother who married a divorcee. He's a kohen. He should never marry a divorcee, but he didn't listen to the Torah and he married her. So you could hold like Rabbi Akiva that it's not a marriage at all, zero. Kiddushin are not toivus b'chayv lavim. Or you could hold that it is. Let's say you hold it isn't, zero. So now the person dies, and he thinks he's married to the divorcee, but he's not really legally married to her. So that divorcee doesn't become his brother's yivama at all. Nothing happened. From the fact that this brisa says that she does become a yivama, just you should not be miyabim her, you should just give her chalitza, it tells me that the kiddushin is a good kiddushin. When the kohen did a bad thing and he married a divorcee, it's a good kiddushin, it's chal. Let's see inside. Sorry, Amal al Kohen Gadol Grusha Chalitza the Kohen is called Isra Kedusha. Isra Kedusha, Amal al Kohen Gadol Grusha Chalitza the Kohen. Why is it called Kedusha? T'chsiv Kedoshim Yu Leilikem. V'tanei Allah. Rabbi Yehuda Machlif here. Let's just go here. Check this out. Sorry. No. Let me go away from that. Okay. Now I can show it to you. What's this mitzvah? We just said it's a mitzvah means shniya, it's a grandmother. What's this kedusha? An almanah to kohen gadol. Comes Rabbi Yehuda Machlif. Check this out. What's Machlif? You all know. Boom. Okay. So in other words, Rabbi Yehuda, the one we just said, that believes that when there's a isser to marry a woman, a lav, just a lav, it doesn't work at all. Over here, he's saying it does work. Look, I just changed the mitzvah to kedusha and kedusha to mitzvah, but here. It says over here that these women, you should give them a chalitza, not a yibam. In other words, the brother who died, the kiddushin was a good kiddushin. He just flipped them around, but he still agrees that there's a chalitza. And if you say the Rabbi Yehuda holds like Rabbi Akiva, that what? Rabbi Akiva holds that it doesn't matter if the woman is chayv krisos or the woman is chayv lav, like she's divorcita, koyen. It's never a marriage to her. You could scream all you want and say that you're married, but you're not married halachically, and since after you die, this woman is not even your wife, so she doesn't become your brother's wife, or she doesn't require chalitza. Says the Gemara, a very simple answer. No, Rabbi Yehuda doesn't believe in all of this. The switcheroo that he did, this thing that he did, not because he believes it, he was just trying to explain, according to you Chachamim, you got it wrong. Isser mitzvah means almana, Isser kedusha means shniyos, not the opposite. I'm not involved over here. I don't believe in it. I don't think they're married at all. You Chachamim that believe that they're married, you should just know mitzvah is referring to almana kohen gadol. Kedusha means shniyos. That's it. But he doesn't believe it. What? Sponsors. Turning to the Daf of Shvat, Innovations LLC, an honorable Cohn Pressman official, Zchut Vakiv Simcha Ben Fega, Ashidach 4, Rivka Yudas Bas Yavachai, thank you to Rabbi Stefansky. Adar Global, the quietest guy in the room, experts in international financial services. Anonymous, L'Zchut Refuas Hatinoi Gecheskel Yedidia Ben Nechama Sheindel. So, I have to tell the Olam, in case you didn't hear from anybody, in case you weren't in Bnei Brak, because if you were in Bnei Brak and you don't know about this, then you're blind. Chas v'shalom. In Bnei Brak, on every post, on everything, I got like 100 people send me. A guy made a 16-meter wide sign and put it up. Basically, the owner of Armanot Chen, it's a very popular hall, he's giving us the hall this Thursday night, and he's doing all the advertisement and the food. So there's a shir in Hebrew. You guys are invited, what? His name is Moshe Cohn, yeah. Moshe Cohn from Chazdei Naomi, the CEO of Chazdei Naomi. He's doing a shir in Hebrew over there, so you guys are welcome to come. It's going to be an interesting moment. What? He's expecting 1,000 people. I don't see how it could be less. I mean, it's on the radio station, it's on the people are just going to come to see what is going on. And it's free food in Bnei Brak. Hey, they don't care about it. It's Lal Shishi, Tu B'Shvat.
You want me to come?
If you don't embarrass me.
I can't control that.
Yes, I want you to come.
All right, I'm in.
Thursday night. He also, Rabbi Yitzchak Tani Kidisnan. Okay. So anyways, Rabbi Yitzchak says, listen, everything we just read, that what? Nachamo. The Rabbi Yehuda says, if a person is with his own mother, he's only chayav one. We brought a brisa. It's referring to in a case where the father wasn't allowed to marry this mother. No, says Rabbi Yitzchak, no. Let's read it like it says in the Mishnah, that a regular mother who was married to the guy's father, everything is good and kosher. They had Rabbanim at the Chasana, and they all said it's a great wedding and a good Kiddushin, and the son was over with his mother. He's still only chayiv one according to Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda only one is, sir. In other words, even though there's a Kiddushin and the father is married to this woman, we don't give him a carbon for Eshesav, only for Imai. V'tayim Emai. And now we're going to try to figure out what the reason is, and we're not going to have a good reason today. Tomorrow is the reason until the Mishnah on Nundal Al. Time Emai. Imchahi. Mefurish in the pasuk. Imchahi. Here. Imchahi. Mishum Imai yatam chayvoi v'yatam chayvoi mishum Eshesav. It's an exclusion. Imchahi, I only give you one carbon, one isser for ima, for mother, and not for the second one, Eshesav. As the Gemara, I have a little bit of a problem. Why? Because if you look at this chart, it says Ervas Eshes Avichahi. So do the same exclusion when it comes to the father's wife. So what's going to happen? I'm going to have, no, you're only chayiv for a father's wife. No, you're only chayiv for a mother. So you're not chayiv for anything. So a person who's with his own mother is going to be potter. Makes no sense. Says the Gemara inside El Mata. He, the same thing. He, it's an exclusion. Now that comes to the bottom pasuk, the bottom line comes to say that you're not chayiv for a mother, ima, and the ima comes to say you're not chayiv for a father's wife. So then I have two mimiyutim on a regular mother who's married to your father. Well, that can't be that you're potter. If you have a mother, your mother is not your father's wife. How is she not your father's wife, Rabbi Yisai? Huh? Oh, yeah? They never got married. It's called in Lashon Gemara Anusa. Nicer kind of Lashon. Out of wedlock. They weren't married. They were never Ashes of him. She's his mother. So that Yamaskim is chayiv. Why? Because it says in the Torah. Imoy. And then the other case, Imoy she Ashes aviv lo mechayiv klal. It's impossible. If she's your mother who's not your father's wife, then you're for sure chayiv. Then it's imcha. You have a pasuk imcha. But if she's your mother plus she's also your father's wife, you should be potter completely. Makes no sense. V'su. The Rabbanan Nami Yoksiv Imchi. Wait a minute. How could Rabbanan say that you're chayiv two isurim if there's a miyut in the Torah? Imchi. Ela umebayla the Rav Shisha Bereder Avidi. So that's the Gemara is going to explain later. There's a Rav Shisha Bereder Avidi. The Rabbanan Nami umebayla the Rav Shisha Bereder Avidi. This miyut imchi is not for this. Oh, so we have to come on to a new pshat. Why does Rabbi say you only chayiv one and not two? Shalom Aleichem. You're new over here, Tzaddik? No, not really. 5-6 times like him? Okay. Zevi, I'm telling you. He doesn't believe me. He's arguing with me whether I remember stuff or not. Rabbi, here's a question. What daf is the game on? The game, the Volshas? Shash. He ruins every kasha. What do I do with him? Okay, fine. Zayin. For sure you're not allowed to answer. Okay. Israelis are starting to come. Elo, Revacha Bereder Raviko, Omakro, Ervasa. A new pshat, which is only going to last for about a minute, and we're going to go away from this also. Ervasa, again, we have a person who's mezana with his own mother, and this mother is also his father's wife. So are you over two or only over on a mother? Ervasa says no, only one. Ervasa. Mishum Birevach has the Mechayv with the Mechayv. Mishum Shtei Ervos. Elo me'ata Ervos Kalos Chalei Sigali Ishes bin Chayi Lo Sigali Ervos. It says the same word Ervos by us daughter-in-law, and we all know that a daughter-in-law Yechayiv twice for Ishes Ish also. Hochanam Mishum Birevach has the Mechayv with the Mechayv Mishum Shtei Ervos. Was not about Kalos Yechayiv Le Mishum Kalos Mishum Ishes Ish. Bein Mechayv B'noi Bein Lachem Ises B'noi. V'loi pali Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda doesn't even argue on this. Ella, even the chadgufu afal gav the trei yisur ninu ksiv ervasa. So you have to say, okay, the reason why it says ervasa is because we're talking about one person, but there's two yisurim. Hachanami even the chadgufu afal gav the trei yisur ninu ksiv ervasa. Bekitzer, at this point, we can't learn from the word ervasa. We can't learn from the word imchahi. But I will tell you a quick story for the new guys, and there's a lot of Hasidim here, so I'll tell you a Ma'aseh Shaya with me. I got to tell you this to you, don't be upset at me, but maybe you Hasidim will appreciate it a little bit more than the Litvaks here in the room. I was in Tzvat a long time ago. I was on a trip with Or Sameach. It's called a mentor's mission. On a trip, and I was in a crazy mood. It was on Shabbos, and we went for mincha in a shul, and the guy he thought he's Hasidish. He was like a Tzvat Chassid. You know what I'm talking about? These halva Hasidim. So he starts reading the Torah, and he says, instead of who, he says he. Okay. He didn't say anything. The problem is that a few psukim later, it said who again, and then he read it who, instead of he. So I start screaming, he. So the whole shul starts screaming, no, who? He, who? And I'm saying, no, he. So I go over to the guy. I said, listen, if you're going to be consistent, you're going to read every who, he, That's great. But you can't do one he and one who, because then the first one wasn't good. Well, get out of here. He started yelling at me. Stop. Okay, anyway. It's a true story. Anyways, Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful week. A good Voch. Beis Hashem, huh?
True story,
No, it's true.